Welcome to another episode of Redesigning Your Relationships Live. I'm your host, Giovanna Burgess-White, with my co-host.
Hello, I'm Yvette Valdenegro.
And we're so excited. It's March 1st. It is the beginning of one of my favorite holidays. It is celebrating women the whole month of March. In our world, we celebrate women every single day of our lives. But we are going to do a special series this month where we're going to be featuring amazing women. And they're going to talk about what they're doing not only in their life, but in their business, and just give you some tips, tricks, and nuggets. And before we start and we bring on our guest, if you're watching us for the first time live, welcome. We're live every single Wednesday. I hope you're enjoying. If you are a previous listener or watcher, welcome back, because we're here to rock your world this March. And then if you're listening on the replay, remember we have a podcast every single Friday
that and she's frozen. I love it. Oh my God. Okay. Well, technical difficulties. Yay. Listen, welcome to our world. This is so not new. However, I had to laugh. I was giggling the whole time because this is Gio's favorite month out of the whole year. Well, no. I take that back. March is her pre-favorite month. And then April is her real favorite month because that's your birthday month. Can you hear me?
Yes, there goes the tech.
Okay. Did you hear what I was saying?
No. What did I miss?
I was like, first of all, I was giggling the whole time. I don't know if you saw me because one, technical difficulty was make me laugh. Secondly, you had said it's your favorite month. It's technically really not. This is your pre-favorite month because next month is your birthday month, and that's really your favorite month. But I was also going to say, you don't breathe, because when you get so excited, you don't breathe and you don't finish your sentences. It is National Women's History Month. You said it a little bit and then went into, so anyway, that's what we're celebrating. We're celebrating women.
Okay, well, that's why we do the show together. We finish my sentences. So, yes.
Well, this shows your passion.
Yes. Okay, well, today we're going to talk about the relationship with your business. You know, this is my favorite pillar. We don't joke around. We give you the real and the rawness. And instead of us talking about contracts, because I know everyone hates them, we're going to bring on Girija Patel, and she's going to talk about why it's so important to have it with your business, with your team, with your clients. And something that she brought up, which I absolutely love, is also with your partners. If you're in business with your spouse and you're in business with your friends. So we're going to bring her on and we're going to introduce her, let her talk about all those things. So without further ado, welcome to our show.
Hey.
I'm giggling too because it was so funny. Technical difficulties pre, during, and probably post also.
This is the real world. This is why we go live. This is why we tell people there's no point of editing. We're real and raw. We're in perfect action. And if we can do a show, you can do a show.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me on. It's such a pleasure and truly an honor to be a part of this show, this group of women that you are also serving. There's a whole lot of things that happen in everybody's life that can be so defining. And then what is even more defining is what we do with that. And I feel like you're really helping people redefine themselves, and can't be more excited to kickstart National Women's History Month. I wrote it down because I knew I was going to forget it too.
It's the month for us. And I said, we celebrate year round, but I love that you are the first guest of the month. And before we even start talking about the amazing things that you do, why don't you tell everyone that's watching and listening who you are?
Yeah, my name is Girija Patel. I am in Houston, Texas. I'm a licensed lawyer here, but I'm not just your typical lawyer, so that makes it fun. I am really on a trajectory of making law embraceable, and you are welcoming it into your business because it is already there. So it's a guest. It's happening. It's not even a guest. It's it's part of your life. And so we need to embrace it. But I have a law practice here. I serve small business owners, small businesses, online business owners, startup companies, you name it. I'm here for you from the beginning to end and everything in between. I also help with intellectual property and your trademark, your copyright. Aside from the law stuff and my legal hat, I also am a mom. I have 2 beautiful kids and a wife, also family, a really big family that is here in Houston. So there's a lot of juggling happening all the time. And but it's nice. It also teaches me to be a better planner and organizer on my end.
Yeah. Yay. Okay. I just want to interject since it is National Women's History Month. Before we get into because I know you're going to give us some really good tips about everything. Obviously, you're a woman. Obviously, you have children, and you have this whole world around you. What would be just one nugget that you would want to share, in particularly to women? A tip, something you've learned, or just something you've learned to embrace. But you can really just share whatever you want. But since it is the history for women, just something from you.
This is huge. It's hard to just say one thing, and but I'll try. I'm going to say this, to honor each role that you're in. And what I mean by that is to truly embrace it, to love it, and be present in it when you're doing it. I think we all struggle with being present, and we all struggle with honoring our roles also, because there's a lot of chatter sometimes that you hear about what's happening, what's the trends, what it should be like, but what should be may not be aligned with your values. What should be may not be aligned with how you live, your culture, your background. And so it's really important to embrace who you are, embrace your value system, recognize it, and then honor your life in every role that you play. It's just so much more peaceful, and you feel very much in a synergy, and everything seems more aligned with you at that time.
Yeah, I love it. Thanks. I know that was totally out of the thanks. Perfect.
It was perfect.
I was not prepared for that answer, but I'm glad you asked me.
The best part of changing things up and being real and raw. Well, yeah, I love that.
It. Yeah.
In alignment with what we teach, what we do, who we are. And presence, time, and we can have a whole podcast on that. But I want to talk about contracts and law in your business, because I feel like, we know that there's tons of small business owners, tons of entrepreneurs, tons of women who are starting businesses. And I feel like that's one of the things that gets left on the back burner, and they're like, oh, we'll get there when we get there. And then it's only when something bad happens in the business or with a client or with a team that people go, oh my God, I should have been looking at that. So why don't you take us down this kind of rabbit hole of why is it so important to have them, and really where should you get started?
Yeah, I am totally the believer of doing something beforehand, being proactive, being preemptive. And my entire focus, and when I'm approaching any of my clients' businesses, is actually starting not from the vantage point of, oh, how do we fix this? How can we put a Band-Aid on this? What are we curing? It's not about the cure, but it's more about the strategical tactics that we're using in our business. They're already there. They're already things that we have to do. Simply just even the simple sale of a good is a contract in and of itself. Verbally getting into an agreement with somebody is an oral contract. Now, they're super hard to, they're super hard to support in court, but it's still, you can still support it by showing evidence and all this, a lot of stuff, right, to prove it. But written contracts are probably the best instrument to use, because it actually really shows what the understanding is between the parties. And, there should always be a reflection of the conversations you've already had. It shouldn't be something new, something that's a surprise factor. I don't believe in that. I think it just makes the other party really annoyed with you, and it's harder to negotiate. And so what you see on TV is not real life, although you really want it to be. And it seems so cool. Even as a lawyer, I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to do that. I want to be that person. But truly, it's not like that. It's not like that at all. There's a lot of feelings and emotions that are coming onto the table, and we must respect that, whether it's my client or the person sitting across the table from me. But law is ever present in our businesses. Even if you don't employ contracts, but there are other people that you're using, their tools, software, this platform right now, you agreed to a terms and conditions, you're paying something. You blindly probably put a check mark somewhere, but that you're agreeing to it at the end of the day, and that they're going to hold you accountable to that. And so instead of running away from these strategical, I say strategies, because truly they're legal strategies that we can use to build into our business, where we are in the future mitigating issues and perhaps even avoiding them altogether. And that's where we want to be. I hate to see people who are business owners, and I cater to a lot of women, and I don't know if it's a default thing or what thing, but I love it. And so they put in their sweat, they're putting in their time, the time that is very covetable for all of us. It's very precious. And I know, like, I'm juggling so many different things that if I'm doing time on my business, I'm spending time on business, I want to make sure that it's productive and it's impactful, and I'm making the needle move each time I'm working on my business. So why should we not protect it just like we protect our babies? Why should we not put that diaper on rather than thinking, oh, well, we'll just figure it out when the bathroom happens? And you're like, what are you doing? You're cleaning up that crap, right? Why should we clean it when we can take care of it and contain it? And so that's what I think, law in general, contracts are a great tool within the legal world. And they really help protect not just you, but the other party. And it's not a taboo. It's not that you don't trust the other person. It's actually because you trust them, you're ready to get into this contractual binding, written contract with them. And so it's really important. It really sets the boundaries and expectations of that relationship.
Great. Okay. My mind was going a mile a minute when you were talking. I was like, oh my God,
what's
that? No, it was great. So what is, because you said we don't want to put Band-Aids on things, right? So what is it? Two questions. One, what are people actually coming to you for that they are needing a really big Band-Aid it's kind of like, oh, if this would have happened before. And then secondly, what are some things that are just automatics that you just think someone with a new business, entrepreneur, whatever, that they must have? It's like, this isn't even a think about it. It's, hey guys, this is for real and you must have these things.
Yeah, gosh. So generally when business owners come to me, they're at a point where they are leveling up their businesses. A lot of times they already recognize some of the issues that they are encountering, maybe, client issues, client pain points that they're having with their experience working with their client. Or it could also be that they're creating so much content that they want to protect it, or they're getting into partnerships and collaborations with other people, and they're wanting to make sure that that collaboration is safeguarding their interest as well as the other person's interest, and nobody's running away with something. And if you are that person, or if you're that business owner where you are getting into that level where you're just like, gosh, I need to do something because I am putting a lot of money into this. And even if you're not putting a lot of money, there's no number on that. A lot of money can be very different for many different people, but it's more about how serious are you taking your business for yourself? How do you envision your business? Are you that person that is going after things, getting it done, and wanting to be proactive? Or are you somebody just wanting to DIY it, which is totally fine, but you're at a different stage in your business and how you view your business at that point also. And so I have a lot of clients that are coming in who want to get stuff done, and they're not necessarily micromanaging, because that's why they're hiring me to get the stuff done for them. So it's contracts, trademarks, and a lot of content protection. And more than that, it's a very wholesome approach that I provide my clients from the beginning. I don't just do a tunnel vision service for them and just like a one-off, okay, bye-bye. I offer a variety of, methods of working with me, because I want to give a more wholesome approach. I want to work with your vision. I want to know where you're going, and I want to know how we can provide support for you in that manner. Now, we're going to rewind a little bit and say, okay, somebody's just starting, or they're in the first stages of their business, or just, maybe in the first 3 years of their business. I really want you to sit down and think about what assets you have in that business. What are the things that are valuable, that actually add value to your business, and the end number for your business, like when you're evaluating a company. And a lot of that is a lot of intangibles. What do I mean by that? I mean by the content that you're creating. We're all creating content in today's world. If you're not, you're really behind the curve. But your videos, your whether it's worksheets, workbooks, photography, Instagram, all of that stuff. Everything has value behind it. Your brand itself has value behind it, especially if it's gotten enough exposure and space in the market that you're in. You, as the owner of your business, also have value. And there's absolutely insurance out there to make sure, God forbid something happens to you, that insurance is going to kick in too, because you are the prime person in that business as well. And then, of course, the money they're making, the email list, all of these things are assets in your business. And think about what you have and the exposure to risk that you have. How much liability do you have if something were to happen, something bad were to happen? Your customer doesn't like something, or somebody, if you have a brick and mortar, someone walks in, they fall. What's your exposure? And I would really suggest thinking about entity formation if you haven't done it yet. So that would be the first thing. I don't think everybody requires an LLC or a corporation, but you might be eligible for one. But truly, the biggest benefit of doing that is that you're separating yourself from the company as an individual versus a company, which is also considered an entity, a legal entity that can get into contracts. So they can get into binding relationships. And that would be the main benefit, whether or not the risk exposure is high or not, because sole proprietorships are wonderful, but literally you are naked in front of everybody if something were to happen to you, or there is a lawsuit coming towards you. So entity formation. And if you are, getting into contracts, or you're hiring people, or you're getting into a partnership, like we were talking about earlier, even if it's your best friend, your husband, your wife, your spouse, your children, like your I don't care who it is. Okay. I don't care who it is. Have something written out, even if it's super basic, have it written out, because at that time you're happy. Everybody is happy. And in happiness, you want to create something that seems fair, that seems where everybody can walk away and they'll still be okay. And no one's going to be truly hurt, or financially they won't be a super dent. Because later on, when there is a conflict, when there is a dispute, people do not want to agree with you anymore. Nobody wants to talk to you. There's a lot of emotions involved. And so practicality goes out the door, and it's just all about the emotions, especially if it's a close relationship. And business partnerships are like marriages, just business. And so you want to have a clean and easy break. So business partnership agreements are super important from the get-go. I don't care if you're like day 1 or day 0 of your business. That is like, ultimately, you really need that right away. And then we can talk about entity at that point. But yeah, so those contracts are important.
I mean, we talk about this because it is it's part of the relationship with your business. Your business is an emotional, there is emotion involved in it, but we talk about it from the fact of it being like boundaries as well, because we talk about having boundaries with yourself, with your business, but also with your team, and with your clients. And I think we kind of forget that there's contracts involved in all of that. And when you go work for someone, like you just gave some great examples, but when you go work for someone, you're also signing contracts and terms and policies,
Yeah.
and really NDAs and all these things. And we don't think about that when we're creating a business and we're bringing on team members. I don't know how many times you've heard, so-and-so used to work for me, this and that, and they went and started their own thing. And it's like, they took all of their intellectual property and did their own thing. And then same thing with clients. We talk about, clients, they don't have boundaries, they're calling me all the time. And I'm like, that's like where we're like basic 101. That contract is your, when can you call? How do we communicate? All of those things. So when we teach it, we're not lawyers, but we do teach the importance of having that in those contracts, equaling the boundaries so that you have a healthy relationship with your business, with your team, and with your clients. What are some things that you see? And you've listed so many, and we're super thankful. But what are some things that you see maybe with client, like business to client versus just business? Are you seeing a lot of like, again, I feel like you may get it afterwards, like if you just would have done this, but from having a business and dealing with clients, what are some tips and tricks that you would say, or contracts that you would say are super important for businesses to have?
Right. So there's a lot. I mean, client contracts are very important, right? And so within that client contract, you want to have the scope of the work that you're providing them. Scope creep is creeping on the scope, whatever they call it. Like, you're creeping in the scope space. And a lot of times clients will want to ask for more than what they've signed up for. And, as a business owner, you have the discretion to give a little if you want extra, because that's just part of your customer service. I don't believe being extremely militant with your contract is also healthy, because it makes you kind of lose the emotional aspect of being a business owner. But you also don't want to be so lenient with your contracts and with your policies and everything that you've set up, where you're constantly struggling and have friction with yourself and your business, and you don't want to go to work anymore because you don't know how to handle your clients. So there's a fine line. And as each business owner, we have to discover that fine line for ourselves and what is okay with us and what doesn't sit well with us. But I would think really define the scope of your business, of the services that you're providing and the payment terms. If you feel that your client, I have, many clients or questions in general that come up and say, well, how should we handle the payment? Because we don't want to have them pay everything up front, but we also don't want to do all the work and then them complain about the payment later on. Well, I suggest, why don't you do a partial payment in the beginning? Partial payment should cover most of your expenses, and then everything else should be something that's kind of like a woohoo on top of it. So if you were to lose that part for whatever reason, it's not a total loss because you've covered your expenses in the beginning. And that's really important. And also, when we are doing percentage things, percentage payments, partial payments, we have to be very careful that it doesn't seem too excessive, because during COVID times, especially, a lot of courts ruled that, charging a client, photographers, especially in event industry professionals, they were charging, 50, 60% beginning as a non-refundable deposit or advance, which seems fair, but at the same time, courts are that's excessive and unreasonable. So just be reasonable. And, if you can kind of document the reasonableness also, then that's wonderful as well. And then, pricing and all that you want to have in there. You want to have, especially if you're a coach and you're coaching people, whether you are teaching them as a coach or whether you're just teaching them in general how to do X, Y, Z, you want to first of all protect everything that you are using with them, all your teaching material. If it's a course or any material you've created that is either high earning revenue, work product, or if it's something that converts, even if it's free, but it's converting a lot of people into becoming customers of yours or clients of yours, I would suggest considering doing a copyright protection on that, registering that for the Copyright Office, because then in the event somebody were to steal it and pretty much copy paste it, you actually can take them to court for that. Otherwise you can't. And so any work product that you're creating that's human authorship, FYI, okay, guys, AI does not fall under copyright protection. I love AI, but at the same time, we need to know about it. And this could be a whole nother conversation for another day. But it's human authorship. It's not AI authorship. And if you can have part and parcel as long as you identify it correctly, so then they can protect it or they can register what's required underneath the office, Copyright Office properly. But do the trademark, do the copyright where you need to. Trademark is protecting your brand. Copyright is protecting your work product that you've created, and already have that in place. But then the contracts would also identify that. Your contracts would say what your clients can do or cannot do. If you're giving them a license, wonderful. If you're giving them the full right to whatever you've created, that's also wonderful too. It just depends on what you're doing for them. And have clear termination policies, have the force majeure policies out there too. And when I say clear, I mean, you're telling them the process. If this was to happen, then these are the 5 steps we're going to take to make sure that we're going to have a clean cut exit out of this. Sometimes it's very vague. Sometimes it's very general in nature. And then everybody doesn't know what to do anymore. So being very clear. Now, what I also really would encourage is that there's a way to introduce that contract. It's not just to throw it in somebody's face and say, here, sign this. But there's really a beautiful ways to kind of integrate the whole process into your SOPs of your business, into the normal operations of your business. So say for example, that, I have a client and I'm right now onboarding them. I'm having a discovery call with them. That discovery call is your first chance to talk about pain points, but in a way that is positive, not in a way that's negative, but put a positive spin on it and say, these are my policies. And I do this because I want to, nurture you. I want to do this because I'm available for you, but I also do this because I have thousands of other clients and I want to be available for them. Right. So this is why I have an advance that's non-refundable, because I'm really putting this day out for you and I want to dedicate that day to you. And so it's a wonderful way to explain to them pain points that are there, but also things that part of your contract that might seem a little abrasive or that might seem a little uncomfortable, but you're already putting it out there. So it's not uncomfortable anymore because you've already put it in their system. You let them hear it once. And then talk about it is after that discovery call is when you have the initial client call. You're actually sitting down and talking to them, and you're going to walk through whatever process you walk through with them. And that's when you kind of talk a little bit more about your policies. You talk more about your contract, and you talk more about the way things are done. So you're now reinforcing whatever they've signed. You're reinforcing whatever policies that are important to you. And you're not doing it in a way that seems hostile. You're not doing it in a way that's, causing friction between you and your client. So then later on, if something were to happen, then you can say, you know what, I remember we had this conversation and this is happening. And right now we've given a lot of allowance, but we have to put a stop to this. Or, there's this clause here. There's, you can kind of then lean back into your contract and use it again, but in a way that's a little bit more powerful and absolutely reaffirming everything that you've already talked about. So nothing is like, something out of left field. Everything has already been said about 3 times before. And that's what's really important is the notice that you're giving them.
Wow. Oh my.
By the way, I've been taking notes. And all I could think of, to be honest, before we even go into wrapping up or whatever, but I know I can hear people right now because we hear this with our clients, or we just hear this in life in general, right? You get going on a business, it starts doing well, because let's just be honest, sometimes we start things and we don't have everything in place. And then other times people start things and they have 5 million things in place, and then they're just waiting for clients or to sell their products or whatever. So you have both ends. But I love what you said when you said people come to you when they up level, because there seems to be dynamic in there with things are going well, but not quite where I want them. I know that I need to scale. I know I need to get better, even with what we do. I know that I want my life to be better. I want to grow as a person. I want my business to grow. I want my relationships to, to grow and be more dynamic. But when it comes to actually time, the action steps to do things, taking responsibility, and more importantly, where I'm getting at financially, a lot of those things go out the door because we think I can't pay for that. I'm almost thinking like someone would think towards you, right? I want to up level, but now I know that I need to work on contracts or, whatever. So like you said, the risk, I see the risk, don't want to have to necessarily give financially to that right now. So this is your opportunity. If I was that person, and it's so hard because, someone coming to you, what you would say face to face might be different with there's not a person right now in front of you, and you can be a little bit more like, hey, listen, guys, this is how it really is. Tell me how it really is. What are your thoughts with that?
So how, if someone were to come to me and I'm telling them how it is?
Yeah. Sometimes it's I'll say it like this. If someone came to me and said, hey, I'm not really sure, I understand financially, especially in the recession right now, it's hard. My answer to them might be a little bit more gracious than on a platform like this when someone's like, what do you really want to tell them?
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Okay. Yeah, totally. First of all, I literally go by this tagline, making legal a line item and not a panic attack, because truly that's what you want to do from day one. You have accounting should be a line item in your business. Legal should be a line item, whether you're dedicating $100 or $10,000. I don't care what you're doing. You can get a lot, even $100 today. There's things out there that you can get access to. They may not be the creme de la creme of law, but it doesn't matter. It's still something, and it's still something that's protecting you, and it's protecting your interest. And you get into the practice of integrating legal strategies from the day one, rather than doing it as if you're running after something and with your head cut off somewhere. That can't be a thing. Because at that point, you're losing your mind, you're stressed, you're not even thinking straight, and you'll start doing things that are causing you 10 times more financial stress than it would be if you just did in the beginning. So when I have, right now I have different tiers to work with me also. And my business practice is truly meant for accessibility. I'm not there to be some unreachable, unattainable goal, because I truly believe law is inherent in everyone's business, and it should not be unattainable. And especially for the small business owners, because we make up a lot of percentage of the GDP at the end of the day. It is what it is. So I would really say, you want to level up, you have these big dreams, you have to put money and invest money into your business. And once you start doing that, that's when you're going to start seeing more money coming in as well. Yeah, you may not have enough for that month. Come back to me next month, but you better start saving today. Because the reason is that if you don't, you're going to be stagnant. You're going to start plateauing and you will not be growing anymore. You can only grow so much with DIYing. It is what it is. And, you know, I encourage it. I don't mind it. I have a contract template shop out there because I know there's many people with that mindset. But there comes a point when you're scaling. There comes a point when you're really working with very well-known, you know, companies or brands, and they want to see something good on your end. They want to see the sophistication and the leveling up on your end, and they're not going to work with you otherwise. You know, they'll treat you like the way you're putting yourself out there. Unfortunately, it is what it is. And you know, it's like long time ago in my past life, I used to be a prosecutor in Harris County. And while I was doing that, I was working, and one of the judges, this was actually when I was interning there, before I even started working, there was a judge, the most amazing judge ever, in a criminal courthouse. And there's this guy who was a Rastafarian, and he got a ticket and he was pulled over, and now he's in court now for, you know, carrying marijuana, possession of marijuana in his car. There's really truly nothing that made the cops stop him, but for the fact that he looked like a Rastafarian from the window. And so there was some bogus reason to stop him, but it worked. It held up in court. And the judge said one thing to him. He said, listen, I know we're not supposed to stop you for the way you look, but let me tell you, it happens and it is what it is. So please do this at home. Don't do it in the car. Like, because he knows as part of his, you know, religion, his culture, whatever. It's like, it is like, that's who he is. And this judge was amazing. And so similarly, while, you know, we want to be equitable to everybody and we want to bring, you know, we want to have a table that everyone can sit at, there are a lot of people out there, and I'm going to put myself in there too, that you see someone and you'll start in your mind, subconsciously, you're judging and you're placing them in a space. And as a business owner, you put in your tears, you put in your hours, you put in your money, you put in a lot from the beginning. So it's time for you to also view your business the way others are needing to see you view your business. And I can't stress that enough, you know, like, and that's what I do here. I provide that. And you know, I'm going to do a very shameless plug right now, but I have this. Do
it.
It's called Subscribe Law. So it's subscription-based legal services. It's a 3-month commitment, but the whole purpose behind my 3-month commitment is to take your business and help you realize the visions that you have for the next year, 3 years, or even 5-year goals. And so I start with that process of what's your vision? Where are you taking this business? Where do you want to see yourself? And a lot of times when they're coming in, they already have a lot of requirements that we've identified as well. But we start creating contracts. We start, you know, working on simple ways of putting legal strategies into your operations, into, you know, the setup of your business from the beginning. That way, I'm getting a more wholesome approach. I'm giving them a more wholesome approach to their business. I'm not just doing a tunnel vision service. It is a, you know, zoom out, zoom in service that I'm giving them. And we're really able to embrace and help that client go to the next level that they're wanting to go to, and really setting them up for success at that point.
Wow.
Good.
We have like some likes and loves. We have hearts. We have likes. We got all the things. Well,
I can't see anything, but this is amazing.
I am excited that you came on. I think to me, this is like the health part of your business. Sorry, there's my dog. The health part of your business. And again, just think of us as people. We put that on the back burner. We're like, oh, when something happens, then we go to the doctor. Don't let something happen in your business that you have to go figure out. Oh, I should that contract. And I know just from following you the past, I don't know, it's already been like 3 months when I started following you, stalking you. I love your Instagram because I consume that way, but you do some really great reels on short things. One of my favorites was like Kanye and Kim's divorce and like alimony and all those things. And it's so educational on a real level that I think that no matter how you're consuming, go follow Girija. Go to her
Thank
YouTube
you.
channel. She has a YouTube channel. She gives, you're going on weekly now, right? You go tips.
I have been for a long time. I have Tuesdays and Thursdays. I come out with videos on YouTube. It's called Law Chat for Entrepreneurs / Business Briefs also. On Instagram, I'm at GBP Law. I'm everywhere at GBP Law. So
You'll have all your links. So people have the links already now that are watching live. They can go click
Yeah.
on all of that. If you're listening to us on our podcast or any replays, all those links are available. But make this law education part of your business growth and development, and then just book a consult, because I think it's really important to just know where you're at in your business. And even if it's this, I mean, I just did this. How much is it going to cost me so that I can start saving? Even if it's $200, $300 a month, because yes, just like accounting, just like marketing, just like branding, all those amazing things in our business, law needs to be part of it. So we're super thankful that you came on and just educated us, educated our viewers, educated our listeners. And we hope that this has absolutely helped someone. Again, if you're watching live, the links are already there. If you're on the replay, you can get them anywhere that you're listening. Girija, thank you for being on. We so appreciate you.
Thank you. Can I add 2 more things? I know we're needing to wrap up.
Yeah.
I wanted to just, while you were saying all that, I wanted to share with you one thing, or 2 things. First, the whole budget thing, right? I get it. Like I'm a business owner myself. Like, so I bring all of that to the table as well. And I just had a conversation with my coach yesterday about something that I'm wanting to add into my expenses. And she's like, okay, awesome. I'm like, yeah, but I don't know when, you know what? And she said something that was really great. The point of view on that was this. She's like, how many more clients do you need to add in order to put this into your regular business? And that's how you look at it, right? It's not about, oh, I need to earn more. I need to earn more. It's like, what do I need to do tangibly to get XYZ onto my, into my business now? And so it helps really understand that I'm not going to strive for this. I'm not going to struggle and run after it. I just need to do XYZ in order to get this part of my business now. So whether that's, the law or accounting or something else that's super important, we need to do that. And having a healthy relationship with your business also gives a healthy mindset, just like having a healthy relationship at home. It's all intertwined. There's no separation of any of that stuff as well. And if you're trying to figure out where to even start, just start with writing a list down of your pain points and have it separated between client experience, your own personal experience in your business, and with third parties. Just write down stuff that's going well, stuff that sucks, and stuff that you just want to get rid of, or, things that we can improve on. That's a great starting point, because you start really auditing your own business at that time when you're intentional. Thank you.
Oh, I love it. I'm done. It's like you've been to one of our workshops. We tell people all the time, how do you create boundaries? What are the things that you're no longer going to again, the things that we know all the negatives. So what's that? And probably the positive is going to be, I need some contracts here. That's probably what's going to happen. Well, again, it's been a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you so much.
You've, again, educated all of us. And I know that when we first met you, we had some clients at your
the workshop.
Breakout. Yeah, your workshop breakout, and they absolutely loved it as well. So there will be more of you, and thank you for being our first guest for Women's.
Oh, what a great way to celebrate women. I mean, we are literally standing on the shoulders of so many other women who have helped us pave the path to do what we do today and to really empower others. So I'm really grateful to all of that. And thank you to everybody listening and tuning in.
Well, we're thankful to have you on. All right. I can't believe this. That's a powerhouse. We're gonna have some powerhouses this month.
This actually is. This is almost like a resource someone has to listen to.
Yeah.
Who's new in their business, up leveling, all that kind of stuff. Okay. One of my favorite things she said was at the end when she said, "Take your business as seriously." Or wait, what'd she say? View your business the way others do. In my mind, I'm like, yeah, view the way others do, but also do whatever it takes to. What is that view? Yeah. We don't, if it's not a great view, it's because we're doing something that's not. So the seriousness behind, if you want people to take you seriously, you need to be a serious business owner. Yeah. Take yourself seriously, take your relationship seriously. You can't go to someone and say, hey, this relationship is really important to me, but that you're not willing to put time, effort, financial, whatever into it.
Yeah. The worst thing would be trying to book a gig and you can't get it because you don't have a contract in place to protect you. So many great things. You're going to have to go back and rewatch, re-listen. This is definitely one that you keep on rotation. Again, I love her Instagram. I think she does an amazing job with like simplifying law, because that's one of my not so accounting and law are not my favorites. But when I watch her on Instagram, I'm like, oh my God, law's fun. Especially when she does celebrity law. I'm like, oh my God. But her YouTube channel as well. We were just on, I know will be coming out soon, and she has such amazing just other entrepreneurs, business owners, and guests that are giving great insight. Make it part of your education. We talk about the relationship with your business. It's so, so important. It's also personal growth and development, you guys. Law is important all around. So again, we're thankful for you being here. Again, we're on every single Wednesday live. We'll have some great surprise guests on this month. And then if you're listening to the replay, still comment, send us messages. We are here for you. Until next week. Bye.
Bye.